All right, I'm queuing for my first match with Nic Fit. I wanted to just make sure I was recording there. So I'm queuing for my first matchup with Nic Fit. I've run this deck through 2 leagues maybe in the past month. I think I got 3-2 in both of them. The deck does not feel as strong to me as Bug right now, but it's still pretty good. It's got some play to it. You know, like in one of those leagues, I was able to beat Show and Tell, which I feel is like one of the really hardest matchups for Nic Fit. So this deck sort of has some of the matchups that are bad for other variants of Nic Fit are maybe a little bit better for this one, and vice versa. So some of the ones that Nic Fit can typically handle, this deck sometimes really struggles against. Um, you know, Sneak Attack really gives it some outs against some decks that this struggles with. Like I feel like Miracles is like a favorable matchup with this deck, and Snow Control too, which you know with a lot of Nic Fit variants. I mean, now that it's running Primeval Titan and Field of the Dead, I do feel like that matchup is better, but I feel like it's even better with Sneak Fit than a lot of the other decks. But one of the things is that Sneak Fit runs a lot of just high converted mana cost things in both Sneak Attack as well as Primeval Titan, Woodland Bellower. Some people run Inferno Titan, um, and Emrakul. And so as a result, sometimes against really fast aggro decks, you can just not have enough for them, and they'll get underneath you and kill you too quickly. So even something like Maverick sometimes, which I feel is a favorable matchup for Nic Fit, that can sometimes uh, just get under Sneak Attack, Sneak Fit, and beat it. So yeah, it's sort of got slightly different favorable and unfavorable matchups than some of the other Nic Fit variants. Oh, my opponent is here. Let's see here. I don't think I've played this person. All right, but I would love to play first. Let's see here. This hand's okay. It's a little vulnerable to something like the mana base isn't great, but it does have a turn 2 Sylvan Library, which feels pretty good, and Green Sun Zenith. The Woodland Bellower is kind of dead. Um, the Sylvan Library really makes me want to keep this hand. It's not a stellar hand, but I'm going to keep it. Just, yeah, I'm going to keep it. I don't love it, and it's a little slow, but at least it's got a couple turn 2, turn 3 plays. And I'm going to open with just a basic swamp and a pass here because I don't want to expose myself to wasteland. I would love it if one of those lands was like a veteran explorer or something. So this looks like Snow Control. So I actually feel like this is a pretty good matchup, but we'll find out. All right, so I'm going to play the Sylvan Library here, and I expect them to force it, but who knows? We'll find out. Oh, and it sticks. There's Astrolabe number 2. Astrolabe number 3, wow. This is a crazy hand they kept, but I guess they have all the colors you would ever need. I'm going to actually auto yield and auto yes. Okay, so I can actually Cabal Therapy and Green Sun Zenith here, which doesn't seem bad. Um, I don't love any of these. Karakas is pretty good against Uro. I might pay 4 and just keep the Karakas. Um, I don't think I need this. And I really just want to do that for later because I feel like this deck's probably running Uro, and Karakas is a decent answer to Uro. So I'm gonna pay 4. So I'm gonna open with Cabal Therapy here, and I'm gonna name Oko because I expect they're running. I expect that's at least a 3 of. Wow, Rest in Peace and Spell Pierce. Rest in Peace. Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna guess that this is like I'm gonna guess that this is some sort of like Helm of Obedience deck. That was not what I was expecting. Okay, that's a thing. I'm gonna actually expose my Karakas here. So that was not what I expected. So I think my answer here is I'm gonna Green Sun, and I'm gonna try to get the Rest in Peace. I assume that they're gonna get 2 basics and then still maybe Spell Pierce it. But that I think that's still okay. That way I don't just leave the Cabal Therapy in the graveyard for them to just get it. And I have a basic swamp in play. Yeah, all right. So I'll play Forest and I'll get a Snow-Covered Mountain. And I'm gonna name Rest in Peace if this resolves. I don't really care that much about Swords to Plowshares. And I guess I can even pay for Spell Pierce here, which is kind of nice. But I'm gonna get Rest in Peace. And I have a Woodland Bellower next turn, which even though that gets Swords to Plowshare, like that's probably okay. Yeah, I think I'll keep the Cabal Therapy, even though I know that they're gonna probably hit the they're probably gonna swords the Woodland Bellower. That's probably okay. So yeah, guess I'll just play it out here. And the question then becomes, you know what? I think what I'm gonna get with Woodland Bellower is I'm gonna get Fierce Empath for Primeval Titan. I would love to use Woodland Bellower. I think that's better because if I get Tireless Tracker, they might just swords that. I think Fierce Empath gives me just more. It just gives me more gas. You know, if I get Fierce Empath, then I get Primeval Titan, and that's another thing that they would have to swords, which seems pretty good. And so I'm gonna pass here. And if they swords Woodland Bellower, like that's fine. Okay, my opponent concedes. That's pretty good. So this sure looks like a Helm deck. You know, a main deck Rest in Peace. Really, that tells me like they're running like Helm of Obedience, whatever that thing is, like Energy Field, I think it is. So like Reclamation Sage seems like an absolute must. Carpet of Flowers seems good. Red Elemental Blast seems good. And probably Veil of Summer seems good. If they're running main deck Rest in Peace, I don't need Nile Spellbomb, and I don't think I need Plague Engineer either. So this is probably what I'm bringing in at the most. I can probably just straight cut the 2 vets for 2 carpets, and that's a good trade. If they're running main deck Graveyard Hate, I don't want Meren, I don't want Eternal Witness. They're just not going to be good here. And Punishing Fire is probably of dubious value too. Like maybe it can get like I don't even know what it would get that would be worthwhile. Like maybe they have Ice Fang Codal, but even that is like, do you really want to be using Punishing Fire against that? Especially when Punishing Fire is going to be weaker because of the graveyard. So I think I'll probably just cut those and just run these, which is probably just a little bit better. So that's probably my main game plan here. Cabal Therapy still seems pretty good. And now I might want to run something like I might want to name something like Rest in Peace when I play it. Yeah, everything else seems pretty good here. I mean, Scavenging Ooze isn't great, but it's okay. Those are good. These are good. These are good. These are good. These are good. What out of here? I don't want the ley lines. Don't want Meren. Don't want Eternal Witness. Plague Engineer. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need those. Yeah, I think that's good. So you gotta be able to kill like that Rest in Peace energy field, Helm of Obedience combo. And this hand seems just a little fair. Like it doesn't do anything against a, they're on the play, so they're gonna have Rest in Peace before me. This hand just doesn't do anything against that. I think there's better sixes than this hand, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like it can play out everything in the hand, but it just doesn't do enough. So I'm gonna mulligan. Sand isn't great either, but I think I'm going to keep it in bottom Emrakul, and I at least have Cabal Therapy, and I have like 2 pieces of interaction for their game plan. So I'm going to keep this in bottom Emrakul. Do I want to bottom Emrakul, or do I want to bottom a land maybe? Maybe I'll keep the Emrakul in my hand, and I'll bottom a forest. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Just in case I draw something like Sneak Attack, it'd be nice to already have one of the combo pieces in my hand. All right, so there's that. Hey, got somewhere. So I think I'm going to open here with Cabal Therapy, and I'm going to name. I think I'm going to name Rest in Peace, which I think, that'll if I can hit it, then Cabal Therapy sticks in the graveyard. So I'm gonna go for Cabal Therapy naming Rest in Peace. Yeah, sure. They're gonna hide some shenanigans. So here I can still name Rest in Peace, or I can name something like Helm of Obedience, or maybe Energy Field. I don't think I care about Energy Field at all. So I think Helm of Obedience or Rest in Peace, or even something like Force of Will is the name. And I think I'm gonna start with Force of Will. It's debatable between this and Rest in Peace, but I think I'm gonna name Force of Will. Counterbalance and Helm. All right. I don't like seeing Counterbalance when I have Assassin's Trophy in my hand. It's not quite as good. And I expect that they'll probably play it out this turn. Oh, there's Rest in Peace. All right. So I think I might try to hit that. The question is, do I hit it on my turn or their turn? That's not helpful. So I think here they drew the Rest in Peace, so they don't have anything against what I'm doing here. Yeah, I think I just hit it now. I don't love it, but and this doesn't put it in tapped, so yeah, I might as well do it now before they draw some sort of counter magic. Actually, maybe I'll just hold off and I'll do it at the end of their turn. Maybe that's better. See what they do on their turn. So here, Oko. All right, so here I don't think I think I have to hit the Rest in Peace, because if I hit the Oko, they have just Helm of Obedience next turn, which that represents death the next turn. So I think I just have to hit. I think I'm just going to hit the Rest in Peace right here. And yes, they can fetch a basic, but oh well. All right. So that's not quite what I want to see, but I mean, I guess it's not the worst draw. Like drawing a land there, I do need to get to 4 lands in order to sneak attack. So now my opponent's going to start their clock, and Helm of Obedience is kind of dangerous against my deck. They can just get big creatures, which is dangerous. And they have counterbalance here too, which is not good. And a 4-drop in hand in case they have Brainstorm. Okay, so I'm going to fetch here, and I'm going to fetch out, I think I'm going to fetch out a Badland. So I think next turn I'm just going to jam Sneak Attack and see what happens. Hope that it's enough. Hope they don't have a Brainstorm, because Brainstorm's good. So they missed it. All right, so Sneak Attack is pretty good here. So if they don't have removal, they're going to at least lose 6 permanents and take a bunch of damage. Hopefully they don't have something that just kills me here. All right. Okay. Yeah, Oko just keeps putting permanents into play, which is kind of bad for me, but it could be worse. Okay. So I kind of like this because I can actually Cabal Therapy here. I can Cabal Therapy here, and then Sneak Attack Emrakul, and then sacrifice Emrakul, which I think that's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, Cabal Therapy might get hit by Counterbalance, but that's fine. So I'm going to try that. Yeah, it might get hit here, and that's okay. I should have tapped the Bayou. All right, so I'm gonna name Helm of Obedience here. All right, that's pretty good. All right, and then I'm gonna activate Sneak Attack. Let's put Emrakul into play, and I'm gonna swing. Emrakul might die to the Ice Fang, which is probably okay. Like they might do that to save 15 damage. So I think I attack the player here, and so they annihilate 6, and then they can still play Ice Fang, but at least they're losing a bunch of permanents here. Yep. All right. So sack 6 permanents. Now they're going to take 15. And since I'm pretty sure they drew a land there, so I'm not even going to flash back with Cabal Therapy. All right. And then after combat, I'm going to play the Collector Ouphe. Oh, so they're going to not take the 15. They're going to block. But they don't have... All right. So Emrakul's still going to die at the EOT. I'm pretty sure they have 2 lands in play. I'm just going to play the Collector Ouphe. And then pass. All right. Okay. Oh, they're getting aggressive. Okay, so red blasting Oko that's pretty good here. I mean, they still have pretty good stuff. Oh, my opponent concedes. All right. So sneak attack, able to get there. Always nice to get the first game.